Well, good morning, everybody. This is DearMamaSal on a wet Monday morning. It's 12 degrees here in southern British Columbia, which would make it 54 in American. I feel like a bit of an idiot right now. I've got my raincoat on and I've still got my sandals on. So something is not quite right about that combination. The other thing I notice is all the traffic lights close to me are flashing, which means there's something wrong with them. Just in that couple of blocks, so obviously there's a power outage of some sort going on. And how thankful I am that when the wicked wind came through, and that's what they're calling it because it was a very wicked wind. When that wicked wind came through on Saturday, it took out electricity to many thousands of, hundreds of thousands of people. It was, I wonder if hundreds of thousands is correct or whether it was high tens of thousands. Anyway, a lot of people lost power, let's put it that way. So I'm really happy that we didn't, very grateful for that. So it's been a very interesting weekend. Part of my concern is this morning I could not find my glasses. And I looked in all the obvious places and then some of the not so obvious places, and I couldn't find them anywhere. So I didn't have time to keep looking. So I've managed to find an old pair that quite honestly don't work as well as not wearing glasses, but if I get caught driving my car without wearing glasses, I'm in probably worse trouble. So luckily these aren't too bad. Actually my eyes have improved since I had these glasses apparently. So it's a Monday morning, what can I say? A big thanks to everybody. And I think the word I would like to use today is concern, because you all were so concerned about what happened, and I really thank you for that. It was quite humbling to me how many people you were genuinely concerned about my well-being, and that of my neighbour, and I really felt that. And I thank you so much for it. Just to let you know, the neighbour, who we now know is called Al, we'd actually never met him before, he's at the back of my property, so, you know, we had this dirty great fence between us, so we never really had reason to see each other, just by virtue of the elevation of our two properties. And so, but what an incredibly calm, gracious man. All my fears about the fact that he might verbally abuse me were ill-founded, because he really just said it is, you know, everybody knows what happened. He was absolutely delighted because he didn't know that the trees were on an easement, and so for him he actually went, really? Well, the reason that that's important is because if I am correct, and I believe I am, that means that his insurance company will not be paying the bill. The city's insurance company will be. And the same with my property. The difficulty that I will have with my property is that when those trees upended, they upended over 50% of the retaining wall bank that was actually there, and obviously that's going to have to be rebuilt. It wasn't a retaining wall like with bricks, but it was an earthen bank at the side of this little river that I've never seen run, quite honestly. But it is there in case of overflow. I guess it was there originally when they built the property. So they're going to have to do something to rebuild the bank so I can put a fence up again. Because it took, if you like, the whole of the top of the bank and took it with it, including my fence, which exploded, by the way. So I'm pretty sure I will hear from the adjusters today, and they will go have a look at it and make their decisions as to what the story is. And it's one of those things that it's now in the hands of the people over whom I have no control. And I actually was talking about this yesterday. I realized that I overwhelm over things that I cannot necessarily control. You know, it's about somebody else's decision as to whether this gets covered or not. So it's interesting for me. I learned a lot about my inability to handle stress at the moment, and I think that has a lot to do with my age now. Whereas before, I think I would have handled this slight better. This one hurt me quite sorely. It was my property, and it's strange how it affected my psyche. Oh, that river's high again. We haven't had that for a long time. I always think, in a way, it's sad that we have heavy rain and the earth is too parched to be able to absorb it, and all that water runs back into the ocean, where some of me goes, wow, what a pity we can't divert some of that and pool it and then irrigate the land a bit so that people are not struggling. I hear that these big wildfires in Washington state, they're now saying that they are so bad, and put this one into your brain and try and work it out. They're saying that those wildfires are so bad now that the only thing that's going to stop them is the winter snow. So basically they will do what they can to contain and protect houses, but the forests themselves will keep burning. That is devastating when you're talking about that much land and that much forest. I mean, you guys know how I feel about that Pacific Northwest forest line. I mean, it is just so beautiful. And I just hope that it doesn't go, at the moment it is far east of a lot of places, but the problem is that it's going north, and I believe that it has already jumped the border a little bit. So, and we actually have Yvonne's father living very close to where the fires are now burning. I mean, within a mile, I believe. So that is really, really scary stuff for us all. So we'll just hope and pray that everybody does the right things here, and that not too many people lose their properties in the meantime. So a very big thanks to you all for your concern, and we were actually talking on the broadcast this weekend. We had some fun with the broadcast, and Manon came back. Manon from France. She came in, and she's now got her system working again, so that's awesome. And of course, because she was back, it was very, very funny. Boy, that lady has a sense of humor. how anybody can be that funny in another language is beyond my comprehension, but she is. She really does have an incredible sense of humor. And at one stage during the broadcast, we were talking about, because I normally ask, questions of people, of the whole group, including myself, where we look at different questions. And one of the questions was about conflict. How do you deal with conflict? And I know Manon's first reaction was, I run. And I thought that was cute. But then various people were talking about, most people do not like conflict, and so they avoid it like the plague. And then there were a couple who said it depends on what it is. And then there were, and if it gets to where it's something they feel very strongly about, they will confront it. And I was talking about the benefit of not blaming the other person necessarily, and owning the feeling. And so in other words, that it's far better to say, I feel really hurt when you make a comment like that, rather than saying, you hurt me. Or you're wrong, or whatever. So rather than being accusatory, it works a lot better if you sort of own the feelings and go, I'm really sad that you feel that way, or whatever it is, but keep it that it's your stuff, right? Because it actually diffuses it a lot better. And then I was talking about the benefit of having somebody you could honestly vent to, and I really recommend that we all need this person in our life. And this is the person you go to after you've been perfectly polite to the other person and perfectly rational and done all the right things. And then you go to your friend, whoever that might be, and you might need to go via telephone or whatever. And then you vent. And it's very important, in my view, to vent as dramatically as you can. Use all the language you wouldn't use in public normally. And really, until you start to laugh, because it really does work quite well. And then I was saying that, when it gets really bad, sometimes at the office, I will go into this one colleague of mine that I trust implicitly, and I'll say, where did we hide the gun? Because it's like, I could really use it right now. And of course, she always bursts out laughing. And then I was asking people, what do they do when they get to that level of anger about it or upset? Manon said, she normally asks, do you have any room in your freezer? And I don't know why the idea of, storing the dead bodies in the freezer was just so funny at that time that I think we all just died laughing. It was just so priceless. So if you ever hear me on a broadcast or anything else say, does anybody have any room in the freezer, you will know where that's coming from. I got a feeling it's going to become a DearMamaSal classic, because it's just so funny. And the next person who cuts me off on the road, I'm going to be able to go, does anybody have any room in their freezer? But I have to say that it really is a great thing to do, even if it's something as easy as that. And a reason for it is because it actually makes you laugh, and if you laugh, you're not in the same level of anger. And I think that's why I always have these little things like, call somebody a Richard, or hello mum, if you walk that slowly, you're going to be a flat person any minute now. I do these things to amuse me because I want to diffuse the frustration of it all. But do you have any room in your freezer was definitely a great one. So I really, really do appreciate the whole thing. Anyway, the other thing was that Manon was talking about the fact that what do you do about a friend who is doing stuff that upsets you? And you got a sense that this was a repeated behavior. And when I asked, there's a lot of police tape in this area. I wonder what I missed out on. I'm sure it wasn't good. Whoops. Oh, fallen trees is why. This wind came this way too. Anyway, so what I found out was that she had actually spoken to this person, and the person was still repeating the behavior, and I said, well, then that's not a friend. If you have told somebody that that behavior really upsets you or hurts you, and they continue to do it, then have you got any room in the freezer? That is no longer somebody that you want to call a friend. They are entitled to continue their behavior. You can't force somebody to change their behavior, but you can let them know that this is very upsetting to you and you would prefer that they don't do it. And if they still continue to, then you know what? They've decided that they don't care that much. Now, I don't think that everybody should change for my benefit, don't get me wrong. And I've got one friend who continuously calls me Sally, even though 99.9% of the world calls me Sal. And that is because the first time I was introduced, that was my name. And owing to the fact he's known me a long time, he's always called me that, and he's not going to change. And so then I have to look, is this really important in my life? Would I prefer to be called Sal? Yep. But does he continue to call me Sally? Yes. But I like him more than the problem. I wonder if that makes sense to you. I like him more than the problem. So in other words, I hear it, I sort of subconsciously roll my eyes inside, but I don't do it literally, and just ignore it, because it's not meant as any disrespect. It is how he originally, that's my name, and as far as he's concerned, I changed my name. Whoa, a lot of trees came down here too, big ones. Looks like power lines came down here as well. Hadn't thought about that. Yeah, looks like there are a lot of trouble here. Such a shame. Let's hope not too many people's houses got damaged in here, because there's some quite big old trees here. Makes sense why the police tape was around. Obviously they had to cordon off blocks of the city here to deal with the electrical problem. I wonder if we got electricity at work. Hope so. So today I wanted to say, be concerned about others to some degree, obviously not too much, otherwise it affects your life. But yes, it's okay to be concerned, and it's okay to let them know that you're worried. if you are overly worried, oh gosh, I'm devastated, but that means that you got sucked in a little bit too much. But if you are genuinely, just nicely concerned, and that's quite healthy. And so I look at it and go, I think it's good that we can be concerned about others. I think if you're only concerned about yourself, you've got a bit of a problem. And so, especially if you're part of the DearMamaSal network, because one of the things we pride ourselves in is the fact that we do actually care about one another. And that is what sets us apart from a lot of people. So know that I am absolutely fine as far as I know. I'll see what happens at work today. It'll probably give me a pretty good benchmark. But I really do. I feel pretty fine. I would like to find my glasses. I don't know where they are. And they're the ones that I have to return. So if I've lost them, it's going to cost me a lot of money. But they're around somewhere, that's for sure. I've just got to find out where. And I need them. I don't know if any of you relate to this. I need to be wearing them to find them. That'll make sense to anybody who wears glasses and can't see anything unless they're wearing them. So it's a good day. For those of you who are new and listening and you've listened this far, you probably want to watch the end of this video, because we talk about where all the broadcasts are and the various places to subscribe so that you can be kept informed. So please do that. For the rest of you, really thank you for listening as usual. And just remember to look after one another, but most of all to look after yourself. And part of that is to understand that people will be concerned, but not everybody. If you expect everybody to be concerned, then you've got a very big shock coming in your life. But some people really will be. I had a really nice comment from my sister in England in an email this morning, where she humbly apologized for having missed my birthday by a day. And she literally said, I'm groveling, pathetically, or whatever it was that she said, but she said it so well that of course I burst out laughing. And how could you not forgive her? You know what I mean? It was just so brilliantly done. And I just said to her, a lot of people I wouldn't forgive, but the way you groveled was so good, I've got to forgive you. Really quite funny. So I got a bit of a problem because I've got the temperature seems to have changed, because suddenly I've got windshield misting up. All right, thank goodness I'm nearly at work. I think I've changed the right things now. That might help. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Be concerned. Oh, hush up. Be concerned and know that people are concerned about you. And it's a really good idea to let them know if you're not doing well, because the only way that they can support you is to know that. So reach out and let people help you. This is DearMamaSal saying bye-bye for now.